It's time. My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. Forgive me, I was speechless for a moment there. Yes, it's a bit of technology and it's a bit of myself, but that's what happens. It's live. It's live when you're on a cricket field. It's live when you're coming on My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. So I'll do that one more time, but how I sounded going. Okay, it won't happen again. Here we go. We've got another wonderful show lined up for you. It's going to be Delhi taking on Chennai today. Chennai coming to Dubai for the first time, having played at the other two of what we have ahead of us. Okay. We've got in the studio Harsha Bhogle and Simon Doull. Harsha, Chennai coming off one win, one loss. What will their mindset be today?
I don't know about their mindset. I'll come to that in a moment. But Gautam, I was quite incredible early on. I've had instances of people muting me when I'm doing commentary, but I've never had to mute myself. So that was a great first. Hello, welcome to my 11th Circle. Oops, sorry. I actually didn't like the sound of my own voice. So no, look. I think Chennai have got probably the tougher draw, given that they started at one ground, moved to another ground. They're playing in a third ground, 3 games in 7 days, not the youngest side. So they've got a slightly tough round, and then didn't help that game against Rajasthan Royals. They were so desperate. The numbers don't suggest they were outplayed, but in truth they were. And now they're coming to a third ground as well. I mean, Dooley's here. Dooley was at that ground. They've got to adjust all over again from playing at a small ground in Sharjah to playing at this big ground in Dubai again.
Yeah, Dooley, a quick word on Delhi, the mindset when you come off the kind of game that they did come off. It's something that you just snatched that victory. Is it confidence or is it we need a few things to correct?
It'll be a bit of both. I mean, it's always that great feeling when you come out on the right side of a very, very close encounter and one you possibly should have won, shouldn't have won, and then did win. It's always a good feeling, those games. I can say that from experience. But there's work-ons, and Ricky Ponting, I think, admitted as much. There are work-ons in that Delhi side. Very exciting side. They just need to find their way at the top of the order for mine. I want to see Prithvi Shaw take some responsibility. He is now an Indian international player. He's had his troubles. Yes, we know all about that. It's been well documented. But I'd like to see him take some real responsibility at the top of the order, not be so rash. So that's one thing I'd like to see. And, just some consistency from Delhi. I think that's one thing we're probably always after.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I agree with what Simon's saying, because I see far too many people accepting loose shots and saying that's the way he plays. No, I mean, can you imagine if Prithvi Shaw gives you a start, it just makes it so much easier. There's so many stroke players to follow that if Prithvi Shaw is giving you that good start, it makes it easier for Hetmeyer and for everyone else down the line, for Shreyas Iyer, Rishabh Pant. So I'm completely with Simon there. I think he wants a little more responsibility.
Yeah, and Harsha, that is one of the worst sayings in cricket. Oh, that's just how he plays. No, sir. No. The game dictates how you play. Don't you just go out there and play how you play and then blame it on everything else. So, well, that's just the way I play. That's how I played last week. That's how I played the week before. The game and the situation of the game dictates how you play. You've been told.
Fair enough. Let's quickly give you a reminder of the kind of time when I should actually be putting myself on mute. That is, if I go to select my 11 Circle team and I do something as moronic as not pick KL Rahul in the previous game. I'm not going to be doing that again. I promise you I'll continue to mute myself if I dare do things like that. So let me remind you, get onto the app, select your My 11 Circle team. It's very simple. 11 players, captain and a vice captain. And every time Punjab play, pick KL Rahul. Simple tip for you out there. Today, of course, lots of players to choose from. We will be telling you later on the show about who our Trump pick is. But for the moment, another reminder, folks. MS Dhoni's won the toss. It was a no-brainer, fielding first again. But it's become a strange trend. And I think we're going to start our discussion today talking about that, Harsha. I did use the phrase, I think maybe one of the overused phrases, but sometimes true, a good toss to lose when you're batting under no pressure, having been put in by the opposition with the way the last 2 games have gone.
It's an interesting expression that in itself, a good toss to lose, because it suggests that the captain wasn't certain of what to do. And sometimes because you don't know, that's okay. But most times as a captain, you've got to believe, you've got to know what you're going to do when you go out. I liked what MS said actually there. He said, look, there is advantage in batting second. Because some teams have made mistakes batting first doesn't mean that therefore we should start batting first. But it's now 5-1. And it's also coincided with a lot of fast bowlers bowling well up front. I mean, look at those numbers. What's also happening with teams chasing is they're losing wickets as well. Now, look at the last 3 games, which are reasonably big results, 4, 2, and 5. So they're losing wickets up front to what both Simon and I love watching, which is quality fast bowling in T20 cricket. I mean, for a long time, they were like the snake charmers carrying defanged cobras, and suddenly they've got their teeth back, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it tells you something, though. The story it does tell, Gautam and Harsha, is that if you are sent into bat and you bat really well and you put 190 to 200 plus on board, it is extremely difficult to chase it down. And you're putting the opposition under enormous pressure. All of a sudden, your 2 opening bowlers bowl really well, pick up a couple of early wickets, and the opposition find themselves in serious trouble and cannot find their way out of it. So it doesn't matter whether you win the toss or lose the toss. Whatever you do first, just do it really well, and you'll be in the game. And I'd like to see a toss. I'd like to see a toss this IPL season where Dew wasn't mentioned. I don't think it's going to happen.
Fair enough. Let's assume we put Dew out of the way. Harsha, the point that you made about the wickets, and that graphic showed it, about the number of wickets they're losing. So maybe teams will also look at that. Every team has an analyst, and they'll be showing them saying, what if we play a little bit more careful up front and keep wickets in hand, and then that bat 10 becomes easier.
Yeah, that's true. The analysts will be telling them a lot of things, but there's still no substitute in T20 cricket, as Dooley just said. If a team makes 180 plus, 180, 190 plus, there is pressure on the top 3 to get you off to a good start and say, we need 50 plus, we need 55, 50, 55 plus for no more than 0 or 1 wickets down. So there is pressure on them to go for it. The moment you play 2 quiet overs, you're 5 for no loss in 2, the asking rate goes up. So there is pressure, and I think that is where you're losing wickets. Your team, the chases are getting a little one-sided, so maybe they'll tell themselves, doesn't matter, we'll keep wickets and go for it at the end, as Mayank Agarwal showed against Delhi. So I'll wait and see if that happens. So I'm really keen to see how CSK play in their second innings with their 2-in-1 player, especially. Faf can block and Faf can hit. Which Faf comes up, we'll wait and see.
Just one more question to finish this discussion, Simon. Do you think we're going to have to wait till the first double header before we see a team winning the toss and batting first and changing that trend?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Look, it's going to be that 2 o'clock start local time is going to be very, very tough. It's really warm in the middle of the afternoon. It's not going to be easy. And I think they will hope that that surface just dries out a little bit. The only thing against that was if you've got, I just wonder whether this trend will be so far gone that we might see something before that first 2 o'clock game, because we don't have the double headers until October, and I know we're only a few days away from that. But it'd be nice to see those afternoon games, and I think you will see a complete change of tactics. Bat first, runs on the board, and let your bowlers bowl just slightly later in the afternoon when it perhaps has cooled a little bit.
I'll tell you what, Gautam, I walked out a little while today at about 11 o'clock because we were finally allowed outside our hotel in a little area outside. So we're now allowed outside. So everyone was like little children waiting for this little interval between classes. Everybody's trying to find their way out. It was hot. I mean, and we are used to in India. I grew up in Hyderabad. I've seen the humidity of Mumbai. We understand heat. It was hot by any standards. And if that was at the situation 11 o'clock, by 2, it will probably be even hotter. So that is going to be a severe test playing at 2 o'clock. Even if we are giving it another week for it to cool down, they're saying by 8 till about 8:30 it's pleasant, but at 2 o'clock it's going to be very, very hot.
Yeah, from my experience of traveling to that part of the world, October will not be a huge difference, just marginal. It's November where it starts getting significantly cooler, but let's not discuss that for the moment. Let's look at the squads, and a name that we probably did mention while we were having a chat even before the show began, and that is exactly what's come. We're talking about the genuine quicker bowlers. We've had a like-for-like replacement in a sense. Josh Hazlewood coming in for Lungisani Ngidi. Good change, Simon?
Yeah, I think so. He's coming off a very good performance in England as well, Josh Hazlewood. I think he's one of the unsung heroes of that Australian side, to be honest. He very rarely bowls loose deliveries. I think he's right on the money from ball one. And he bowls the sort of balls that I think in this tournament, at the start of this tournament, are just getting wickets and getting good players out. He bowls back of the length, almost test match length, and he can bowl at the death as well. And he's got good pace, very good in the field, and actually not the worst at number 9, 10 mark as well. He can find the boundaries, so I think it's a really good change.
I'm interested in seeing what, based on what Simon just said, Australia tend to use Hazlewood up front because they've got Cummins and Stark to bowl at the back end. So they tend to use Hazlewood a lot up front. And Dhoni was using Angidi a little bit at the back. So I'll be interested in seeing whether he does what Mumbai Indians tend to do. Go Trent bowl 2 or 3 overs straight up front, whether he wants Hazlewood to take wickets up front and end with, say, a Karan and a Chahar. Because that'll be interesting to see how he uses Hazlewood. Because, Hazlewood bowls a good first over, good second over. There's a temptation to keep him going, isn't there? Try and give me another wicket. So I'm very curious to see how he uses Hazlewood.
Yeah, we will wait and find out. He's going to be in action fairly soon because it is Chennai who are bowling first, and Delhi will be batting with a couple of changes, a couple of interesting changes. One, a forced change, of course. Ravichandran Ashwin, as the captain said, still needs a couple of more games to get that dislocation fixed completely. And so it's Amit Mishra, leg spinner, coming in for Ravi Ashwin's, licorice all sorts nowadays, we should call it. But Avesh Khan, that's an interesting one there. When he first burst on the scene, there was some serious heat in that. And he was a surprise package almost.
Yeah, he's quick. There's no doubt Avesh Khan is quick. We saw him in the odd game recently, so he's quite quick. I am quite keen as well to see Amit Mishra. You look at the numbers, and Amit Mishra is an IPL legend. He's taken more wickets than almost anybody else who's played the IPL. But do we speak of Amit Mishra as someone who was an outstanding IPL bowler or someone who is an outstanding bowler? And that's something I want to see, whether, the force coming out of the shoulder is a little less now. So, in his prime, Amit Mishra was one of the IPL greats, but I don't know whether he still is. So there's Amit Mishra, there's Avesh Khan. There's a couple of sort of, you don't quite know what to expect kind of bowlers there.
Interesting you should mention that, because I had a very similar discussion on the way to the airport in Trinidad with Sandeep Lamichhane, and I was saying, what are the kind of things you're looking forward to? So he said, I'm looking forward to chatting with Mishi Bhai, and somebody from the back of the bus said, does he still have it? And Sandeep turned around and says, yes, he does, multiplied by 2. So at least he has the confidence of his fellow. So Dooley, interesting that we've got Avesh Khan in and Amit Mishra, but of course Mishra as a replacement for Ashwin because of the injury.
Yeah, it is. I like Avesh Khan. I've only seen little glimpses of him, but when I've seen him, he wants to bowl quick. That's first and foremost the thing you must do if you want to be a quick bowler. He seems to have the attributes to do that. Impressed with what I've seen from the Indian quicks so far, and particularly Navdeep Saini. I was impressed with Shivam Mavi the other day. Shami, has been brilliant. So, there's an impressive group of Indian quicks already at the moment. Bumrah is halfway back, 3/4 of the way back. Yeah. Are we saying at the moment after the other night? He's going to find his groove as well. So there's a really nice group of Indian quicks, and Avesh Khan has got some steps to make to get up towards that level, but he wants to bowl fast. And first and foremost, you have to have that. So looking forward to seeing how he operates tonight. And as far as Mishi's concerned, leg spinners are gold. They really are gold. You want him to perform. He's just got to give it a little bit of loop, I think. He got very quick at times in the IPL the last couple of years and just has been afraid to loop that leg spinner. Now, this is a bigger ground. It gives him that opportunity. I thought Piyush Chawla made the mistake of looping it too much at the small ground in Sharjah the other night. So tonight is a night where you can just give it a little bit more if you want.
Gautam, can I sneak a question in to Dooley, not just as a cricket expert, but as a joints expert? Because there isn't a joint that Dooley hasn't been operated on so far. I mean, he does his knees probably every alternate year. It's a bit like going for a medical checkup. But Dooley's done every joint. And I was very curious to know if your shoulder pops out, like it happened with Ashwin, and they put it back in. They're very good physios these days. They put it back in. But how soon does it take? I mean, how quickly can you come back? I mean, it goes
the problem is when you pop it out, and Yeah, I'm no medical expert, but I do have
You know
a
everything
fairly
about
good
joints,
history
really.
with injuries. You're right, Harsh. Better be careful because we'll get medical medical people writing in and emailing in and telling everybody I was completely wrong. But the muscles and the ligaments around the joint, when you pop it out, become a little bit loose and a little bit weak. So you've got to massage those, make sure those are sort of back and there's no tendon damage, ligament damage around it. And he popped his left one out, but people say, oh, well, he bowls with his right arm. The left one is as important in your bowling action as is your bowling arm. So he's really got to get that one up and through and over the top. So when you pop it out, it's just the ligaments and the damage that you do around it that has to be taken care of so that it doesn't happen on a regular basis. Because once it starts popping out regularly, then you are in serious trouble.
You scared me for a minute there, Harsha, with your choice of words, but it was clarified. We're talking about ligaments and such joints. So let's leave that discussion at this and go on to our boost stamina meter. We already spoke about the heat. Now remember, it is the desert, but there's still a significant amount of humidity that accompanies the heat. And when you're out there playing, performing, it is about the stamina and it's about those who show that stamina more than others. Today, we are featuring Francois du Plessis. Faf du Plessis is our boost stamina meter. And if you can have a look at the numbers that he features, and these are 91.5. That is excellent on that stamina score. And we keep telling you there are lots of scientific parameters on which we've seen this, not least of all the innings that he played the other day. Yes, it was a two-part innings. Yes, Harsha mentioned which Faf will turn up. But either Faf, no matter which one turns up, he's still running a lot at that point.
It is.
He's also, sorry, Harsh.
Yeah, Dhoni, go ahead.
He's also one of the best fielders in the side. He runs from long on to long on or long off to long off. He's diving around. He's taking catches. Although he's in his 30s, I think, he is still one of the fittest players in that Chennai Super Kings side. So not only does he spend his time running between the wickets, Harsha, it's that old school, isn't it? When you're the worst, usually when you were the worst fielder in the team, you went from fine leg to fine leg. I'm not sure whether you ever did that, Harsha, but usually that was the job of the worst fielder in the team, fine leg to fine leg. But Faf enjoys it. He goes from long on to long on and loves his work.
I was quite happy going point to point, actually, at the level I play. But long on to long on, because it's the Pollards, the du Plessis, what they do is the additional 6 inches. I mean, Faf is not as tall as Pollard, but he's extraordinarily athletic. That 6 inches that could be 6 and a catch, people like Faf, I mean, I think for the last few years, he's been among the best fielders in world cricket all round, whether in catching positions or in the deep. So it's a huge plus that you bring to the side.
Yes,
it just reminds me of a funny old story from club cricket days in the sort of the club, about the 3rd or 4th 11 at the club. It was a guy who turned up every week in, week out. He was a terrible fielder and didn't add much to the team, to be honest. But he loved the game and absolutely loved the game. And he said, look, I'm happy to go from fine leg to fine leg every week. Don't worry about it. I just love the game. I want to be a part of it. And so he did. But about the 3rd week, he realised it was quite hard work because we played on this massive big ground. And so the 3rd week he turned up to the game, he bought his bicycle. And he parked his bicycle at fine leg. And every over, he would ride his bicycle around the other end of the ground, put it down, and stand at fine leg. And field the ball. And then he'd jump back on his bike and at the end of the over, he'd ride back round to the other end. He thought it was a great lark. And everyone thought it was very funny.
that is absolutely brilliant. I think if anyone, and we've got so many people watching this show, if this gets around to some of the teams, it won't be long before we're going to have maybe even a sponsor to have players going from one end to the other.
Can you imagine people who say on your bike? Here's a new definition of on your bike.
That's it.
Right. Our My 11 Circle trump card, as we promised you. Yes, folks, you've probably got a few minutes to make any last-minute changes you want to. But if you need a last-minute tip, here's ours for the day, the My 11 Circle trump card, who we feel is someone who contributes with bat and ball. But it's not just that. We like to find a little number. And today's number is the matchup between Akshar Patel and Shane Watson. So if the teams are aware of this, you might just see Akshar Patel come in early on when Shane Watson is out there to bat. So contributes as an all-rounder, hence always a good pick, and he doesn't come very expensive. Harsha, fair pick. Would you put him in your team?
Look, with Watson at the moment, the bus is still in the depot. When it comes out and starts getting on the highway, that's when Watson becomes really dangerous. And Murli Vijay, Faf, they don't get off. So it might be a good idea. But then you've got genuine fast bowlers in that Delhi side. You've got Nokia, you've got Rabada. Maybe you want to start with them. But with Akshar, because if he comes in the last few overs, he can always give you runs. And he's guaranteed 4 overs. So, especially with Ashwin, not there, is guaranteed 4 overs. So it's always a good pick.
Fair enough. But for somebody up front, remember it's Delhi batting first. They've got to put runs on the board. And we saw that they had a little bit of a stuttering start in the last game. Maybe not the greatest shots in the world. But for someone up front, India opener, Delhi opener, Shikhar Dhawan, this is going to be hugely important. We can also have a quick look at his record against Chennai. But gentlemen, after you look at the 641 runs, average of 35, 6 half centuries against this very opposition. We've had this discussion about how you like a particular opposition. Now, this may not be numbers through the roof, but it still shows that maybe he doesn't dislike this opposition.
Yeah, I think you'll find that both he and Prithvi Shaw will go quite hard at Deepak Chahar. They might find Hazlewood a little bit of a different proposition. I'd hope and expect Josh Hazlewood to really get into Shikhar Dhawan, maybe in and around the chest area, and Prithvi Shaw just no room whatsoever. But Deepak Chahar, I fancy both these Delhi openers to really try and climb into Deepak Chahar. Nobody's really done it. And to me, it suits Shikhar Dhawan quite nicely to just shimmy down that, maybe off stump, middle and off stump, and whip him way over the leg side. And Prithvi Shaw is very keen to give himself that little bit of room. He hangs leg stump, he hangs leg side, looking to hit the ball over the offside. I think they would fancy their matchup against Chahar. I don't know what they fancy their matchup against Hazlewood.
Do the quick one, because you were predominantly a swing bowler yourself. Deepak Chahar started off predominantly as a swing bowler. Is he pulling his length back too much for someone who was predominantly a swing bowler?
Yeah, and the thing is, you've got to be, I mean, it's hard in T20 cricket because these guys hit the ball so well, but I think he still has to be prepared to be driven. If he gets driven down the ground, then so be it. I don't think MS Dhoni can complain too much because he's getting the ball up there and trying to swing it. In that first over and a half. So if he gets driven down the ground, that's okay. When he gets pulled or hit wide of point, cover point, that's not okay. He's getting his line and his length wrong on those occasions. So to me, yes, he's got to get that line right, but just pitch the ball up a little bit. Give it a chance to swing. And if you do get hit down the ground, at least you're getting hit in the right areas. You can try and protect that. You can have your mid-off quite straight. You can have your mid-on quite straight. And also your cover and your mid-wicket can come a little bit straighter. And they can hang deeper because both these guys are not guys to dab and run too much. They will hit the ball hard. So it's going to get to the mid-off or the mid-on the edge of the circle fairly quickly.
Well, there was one more key question that we have, and it's not come from me, it's not come from any of us, because there's so many of you writing in with hashtag #AskCricbuzz and we like to pick the one we really liked. And today, the one we have, I think, is very significant with Delhi batting first and the makeup of their side. Let's have a look at the question first, and we'll throw it at the experts. This one has come from Adarsh Singh, and he says, do you feel the Delhi batting lineup would have a slight advantage against Chennai as they don't have a proper off-spin bowler, barring Kedar Jadhav, who is not bowled so far, and Delhi has 3 left-handers in their team. No Harbhajan Singh, no Suresh Raina. Both them, not just key members, key experienced members, but both of them would contribute with a bit of off-spin, some more than the others.
Personally, I think when you've got a leg spinner and a good quality leg spinner in your ranks, the wrong end is just as dangerous to the left-handers. So, yes, you would like a Washington Sundar, you would like an Ashwin in your side if you could have one, but not many sides have quality off-spinners. I look through this tournament and the off-spinners are sort of, they're fairly light on the ground, aren't they? It's hard to look through teams and say, okay, quality world-class off-spinners. Moeen Ali doesn't play for RCB. And outside of those 2 I just mentioned, I'm trying to think of others that are in the tournament. You'd love one, but when they're not there, you've got to go with your leg spinners to bowl your wrong-uns.
Yeah, fair point. They're almost an endangered species at the moment. You did mention Krishnappa Gautam, but not the amount of wrist spinners that we have that come to mind. The quality of spinners are
right. The modern off-spinner is the bowler who bowls wrong guns. Is Ravi Bishnoi a leg spinner? Or is he more an a wristy off spinner? Because he only bowls googlies. So in effect, he is an off spinner in effect. So we're seeing a lot of that. And I mean, if you have an action like Bishnoi's, the googly is the easier ball to bowl than the leg break anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, late in his career, Saqlain Mushtaq could have been classified as a leg spinner pretty much. But let's look at another person who gives us the brain teasers. And today I can tell you it's the toughest of the tournament so far. Joy Bhattacharya, you've really outdone yourself today. The joy factor question for this Delhi versus Chennai game is, in what way are Jason Gallion, James Hamlin, Graham Wagg, James Ormond and David Taylor a part of cricket history? All I can say for the moment, folks, is go figure.
Wow.
I'll tell you why I'm laughing. I'll tell you why I'm laughing, because I saw Dooley read it. And as Dooley read it, his expression started to change.
I'm just looking at that and I'm thinking, okay, I know a couple of those names.
Yeah.
I know one of those players on that list captained an under-19 team for another country and then played Test cricket for a different country. I do know that for a fact, but I have no idea what ties them all in together.
Yeah,
apart from Joy.
We made this mistake at the start of the first 2 days. We said, Joy, you're losing it. You're getting soft in your old age.
It's hurt him. It's hurt Joy. He has taken offense. Trust me. I mean, if you're watching this, Joy, don't worry. You've done good. You've done good. We're not going to. I don't think the answer's coming yet, to be sure. But for all of you, hashtag Cricbuzz Live is the way to get in your answers and get them in quickly. Just one more factor to deal with, and that is something that has again become another endangered species. It's called the My 11 Circle Badge of Honor. We didn't have it yesterday, not at the start, not at the end. We've been doing terribly in that. So, gentlemen, it's time to get our act together. We're kind of getting used to the surfaces. Both of you are close to the action. So, come on, it's advantage, Doull and Bhogle. Go for it.
Dooley, you've been there. Go on.
Okay, 179.
Okay, I'm going 168.
I've always lost going lower. Today I'm going higher. 188. 188 for Delhi. Just because I'm trying to change my luck. Somebody's got to win it at one point. So we've got a decent amount decent amount of range. Thank you, gentlemen. We will be seeing you very shortly.
Thank you.
And of course, a reminder for everyone, Cricbuzz Combox will come to you in the 10th over. We'll see how Delhi are faring. If they're faring, and they should be faring a lot better than they did in their opening game and trying to get a good start. Runs on the board. They've lost the toss. It's Delhi batting first. Delhi versus Chennai. Here is the next edition of My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. It will come to you at the halfway stage. For now, thank you for watching.